you have me, you realize you could never go through with it because I'm the only woman who could ever make you feel something after the loss of your wife!
Crap. What's up, gang? We are back and getting called out by Helluva boss. As yeah, they brought up the shippers.
Oh, you're one of those.
But you can ignore that because they dropped some of the fattest foreshadowing I've ever seen on the ultimate fate of Blitz and Stolas. Call this woman Cassandra because she just predicted the future and this fool wasn't listening. So to break down what that was and how it'll relate to the season finale, we are gonna have to talk ship.
What? No, I'm literally just standing here, lady.
So to just breeze through my thoughts on the short as a whole, I think it's pretty funny. Poking fun at a very specific kind of fan who is overly obsessed with shipping. I wouldn't know any. Blitz unfortunately ended up slotting right into her fantasy, so he kills her.
Here for you, my love! I'll be by your side forever!
Pretty great, minus a personal thing that I'll get into later, but the real focus, the real reason I'm making this video is this line right here.
Satan?
Now, if you haven't seen the trailer for the later half of season 2, how? If you are avoiding spoilers, you can step away right now. Spare yourself. But for everyone else in the know, one of the big scenes we saw of what was to come was a courtroom drama involving Andrelphus. We see what looks like the other Goetia. The room is adorned in Lucifer's apples, signifying the places of some special significance. Something big is going on here, and that is only reinforced by the fact that Mammon is also here, and most importantly, that Satan is also making an appearance.
Reminds me of the first time I saw Satan without a shirt on. I was like, oof, boy, you are hot as hell.
Currently, the big running theory about the scene is that essentially Andrelphus is trying to do his 10-head master plan to steal Stolas' wealth and titles for Stella, who would then defer to her brother, so basically he would get all this shit. Andrel has already convinced his sister that just killing Stolas would get them nothing, so if he were to make a move to steal Stolas' wealth while he was still alive, then a hearing where he could charge Stolas with a crime of negligence would be very on brand for him. As yeah, Stolas did lend his special book to imps, and he is not supposed to be doing that. This would probably be the best thing for Andrelphus to lead with. It is a thing that started off the entire series. He could charge him with the fact that Stolas is in fact not being protective of the thing that lets anyone go to Earth. You could also tie into not only Stolas' lack of protectiveness for the relic, or Dork running rampant in hell as, yeah, they know, and that's basically Stolas and Blitz's fault, but it could also be tied to the fact that Stolas is doing this with imps, which the classists that he is surrounded by, this would be the perfect scenario for Andrelphus to drag Stolas through the mud by further outing his relationship to Blitz, which would probably be seen as an even worse crime to Hell's upper crust. Though I imagine that is more for show, as I'm sure all these rich fucks have their own dirty secret laying somewhere in the gutter. But they can't say that because class, and they have to at least pretend to be classy. So, in a situation where the most powerful beings in hell are arguing over what should be done with one of their own, they would need a semi-impartial arbiter to judge the proceedings. Someone that if they spoke, everyone would listen, not just ignore and fall into their own camps till nothing gets done. Now, the only people above the Goetia are the 7 deadly sins, each of whom rules a ring of hell. Mammon, the sin of greed, is also here, and he looks like a witness who is about to lie his ass off, so he's out. Osmodeus is tied to the Goetia, so he would be the natural first pick, but he also knows Stolas very well, so yeah, they could probably get him thrown out just purely on, oh, he's too biased for this. So that means out of the sins that could be here, and the ones that have been hinted at, that leaves one sin to be judge, jury, and possibly executioner. Satan.
You are a disgrace.
Satan is a sin of wrath and apparently the hottest bod this side of hell. He will in all likelihood be in this scene, making Emperor the Monster Fuckers fanfic sound incredibly relevant to Blitz and Stolas. Essentially, in the mad shipper's brain, hearing Blitz name drop Satan, which is a common phrase we've heard him say a couple times, she doesn't know this, but her brain goes into overdrive concocting a tragic love story about how Blitz is this broody assassin. Which true, who's gonna take her to hell, also true, and offer up to sacrifice to his dark master Satan. Okay, that's less true. Only for him to be so in love with her that he overcomes his trauma from the last time this happened with a fictional wife she just made up, and also just fully ignores in the story because fuck her. This is about a self-insert, not about the other wife. Now, why this is relevant to Stolitz is for the simple fact that we might see a very similar choice be present in the future. If this courtroom drama does really happen, if Satan really is the judge, if Stolas is being put on trial for his actions and by proxy his relationship with Blitz, there might come a moment where Blitz will have to rush in to take a stand and put himself at risk. As truly, let's be real, Andrelphus, Stella, they don't really give a fuck about Blitz. Mama might because he's petty like that, but when push comes to shove, everything that the main baddies want comes from punishing Stolas, not ending Blitz. So if Stolas is found guilty, if Blitz isn't forced to testify in some capacity, he might realize that he can basically get away scot-free by doing nothing. That Stolas will get got, but he's got his own crystal now. Asmodeus is covering his ass legally. He doesn't have a single business reason to speak up when he's basically in the clear. Except for one. Love.
You are so corny.
If Ember's fanfic is really foreshadowing, there could be something to the idea that Blitz will have to step up and announce his feelings for Stolas. To put himself out there and be there for Stolas, who believes that Blitz just doesn't care and has been constantly pulling away. This would be Blitz proving that their relationship is more than just a contract. This could also be spiced up more by having it involve fire, just as a punishment, as fire was used to maim Fizz, and it's also what got Blitz's mother killed. So the idea here being that leaving another person to die for what he blames himself for would be one hell of a motivator to see him step up and take a stand. This would be a natural extension of who we've seen Blitz to be when the chips are down, as he is self-hating enough to blame himself for anything, and also willing to go to extremes to protect those he cares about. So even if he's still struggling with being vulnerable, Blitz putting himself in danger for someone else would be exactly what we expect him to do, especially if it's ill-advised. It would mirror what happened at Ozzy's, where he unprompted rose to defend the M&Ms from the boring couple allegations, alerting a deadly sin and his ex-best friend that he was here. Heartbreak ensued. However, I'm not fully convinced that Blitz will be the one to step up. See, hear me out? I think from a writing standpoint, if Blitz were put into this situation where he has to choose himself or Stolas, while a great moment that a lot of people will squee over, I don't think Blitz standing his ground in a fight or flight situation would really just be that huge of a change for his character. Blitz wants the smoke. He lives for it, as where else can he hide from his past? Yes, he has a history of running away and nuking relationships at his earliest convenience, but over the course of the series, he rarely, if ever, runs away. He constantly chooses conflict, especially when it's to his own detriment, as his MO is to push people away, not just run away from them. So it's the moments where he chooses to be calm and to open up that the narrative really draws attention to. This makes me think that Blitz admitting his feelings in some big dramatic way to save Stolas' life might not be the most satisfying choice that could be made. It would effectively be him stumbling into a situation where his bad coping mechanisms actually would work in his favor rather than him growing and overcoming them, as these things, advantages, but they have been also a massive detriment to his life. I think Blitz needs to step up and confess his feelings for Stolas, to reach out and help him, but to do so in a situation where there isn't some extraneous factor holding a gun to the both of their heads. So if we're doing a courtroom drama, the big dramatics, if someone is going to stand up to Satan, then I think I'd prefer it to be Stolas.
Hello, Blitzy.
Now, I've been very critical of how Stolas has been handled by the show as of late. If you're watching this video, I'm sure you've already seen those. But for how Stolas has been written so far, one of his core issues is that when faced with conflict, he runs away. He did it at Ozzy's, he did it in Full Moon, and every interaction the show tells us about depicts him as being tepid and evasive without saying what he wants. Sure, when it's a bunch of mere mortals, he'll go full eldritch horror. When it's some imps, he'll kill or bully them. But consistently, when faced with someone he views as an equal, Stolas tends to buckle under pressure. He tends to run away. This is what makes him standing up to Stella in the premiere so notable. It's the first time he's ever really stood his ground after a lifetime of being pushed around. It's what gave him enough courage to try his grand, misguided proposal, only for him to run the second things went wrong. Stolas is a good person, but when there's conflict, he avoids it like the plague. So if the trial does happen, and it's rather Blitz whose neck is on the line, I can definitely see him pick this moment, where in front of his entire rich prick social class, does he decide to stand tall and to tell everyone he loves Blitz and defend him, which after a lifetime of being strong for others, Blitz letting someone else protect him would shatter the entire hard facade he spent his entire life creating, to let himself be vulnerable and see that things could be okay. Now, even this scenario has its issues. I think Stolas is too good of a person to let Blitz take the fall for his actions, romance or not, rendering a big declaration like this to be expected rather than momentous. If his wealth is on the line, I can see this being the trade-off, making Blitz honor the job offer he made when they were kids. I can also see this happening in a non-romantic way for Stolas, as even if this isn't like a full declaration of love, Stolas standing up to the rest of Goetia, the people that have controlled and shit on him his entire life, it would be just a huge moment for him. A sign that he is not going to back down, he's not going to be controlled anymore, and also give Blitz a hint of just what Stolas has been through and vice versa. Honestly, I can see any mix of these two scenarios going down. One could give their support first, leading to a much bigger moment later on, but only time will tell and see if any of this nonsense I've said is true. So to wrap things up, short, it was fun. I personally wasn't in the best headspace to enjoy this one, since an episode laughing at how cringe a character is right after I spent a week talking about how Murder Drones embraces its cringe. Yeah, it kind of made this a hard transition for me to watch personally. Any other week I would have been just laughing my ass off at this. Again though, that's a me thing.
Stab, stab, stab.
Let me know what you all thought down below. What did you think of the short? How personally called out did you feel? Let me know, and while you're there, do the other things YouTubers tell you to do. Thank you all, peace out. Okay, I think that's it. Actually, unrelated, I still can't believe they tried to sell a shirt with slurs on it. Like seriously, no socially aware person is gonna wear that in public, and I don't trust the person who would. Like maybe if it's a convention, even then. It's a choice.